Hello everyone, welcome to today's comedy. Officer Yuan Yunjin from the police litigation team. Lai Chengshin was reportedly pushed into the river by Taiyong. Now he's missing, so they decided to find Huang Taiyong for help. And the president immediately proves with actions that Chengshin has successfully switched dads. What a boring show. With the lawyer present, Chengshin doesn't need to answer. Reluctantly, the police pull out the footage. The surprise twist. Chengshin watched the video and burst into an odd laugh. Turns out, the one being pushed into the water was no longer Chengshin, but Taiyong. But before he could enjoy the moment, he was ambushed by his former parents and sister at the police station, all calling him Huan Taiyong. They even begged him not to hurt Chengshin, and this scene tore at Chengshin's heart. His once close family suddenly felt so unfamiliar, and for the first time, he started having regret. But the arrow's loose, no turning back. He bit the bullet and left. The good news? Taiyong was quickly hospitalized. The swap Taiyong opened his eyes to find a crowd of family around him. Even though they shouted Chengshin's name, this was his first real feel of warm, motherly love. Chengshin rushed to the hospital, but didn't know the room, so searched one by one. Suddenly, someone yelled his name, Yi Sun-chuan. Turns out, the person who swapped identity still remembered their true self. Chengshin immediately wanted to explain. However, his sister popped up, forcing him to explain another time. Back at the villa, Chengshin found a big problem. He didn't know where Taiyong's room was. After wandering the villa for half an hour, he couldn't find his room and accidentally entered Jaimas. Oh, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you recording? Sorry, Mom. Such an attitude made Jaimu suspect he was really Taiyong. Luckily, he ran into Taiyong's bodyguard. Chengshin used delivering books as an excuse to be pushed back to his room. The closet was larger than his home, and the watches made him forget his regret. Then, seeing his pictures all over the wall, he felt a rush and touched the golden spoon. But in that very instant, he suddenly brought to mind old Lady Wee's last profound words. A poor kid, by means of a magical golden spoon, had switched fathers with their rich second generation. But the two, with their vastly different personalities, couldn't adapt to their new lives. The poor kid suddenly had endless money and went on a shopping. However, his taste remained low. His excessive spending caught his father's attention. The next day, his dad took him to a fancy restaurant to educate him on consumer theory. Chengshin couldn't understand and retorted it was his pocket money to spend as he pleased. This displeased the president. The president felt that his son was spiraling out of control, and that night he came up with a stricter and more outrageous parenting plan. As a result, the rich kid suddenly became weak, lying down for days. Even when he finally recovered, he was obsessed with manga. Even when he saw the feast his mother worked hard to prepare, he still complained that the food wasn't fit for human consumption. Under his sister's guidance, he reluctantly took a bite. Suddenly, visitors arrived, shattering the dinner harmony. It turns out Chengshin bought so much stuff to give to his former family, but he had no understanding of his parents' feelings. The next day, faced with his mother's return, he was baffled and considered repaying his parents' debts with a fortune. But his mother refused. Meanwhile, Taiyong returned as Chengshin. Hardly sat, Chengshin's old friends came to show off. They said Huang Taiyong gave them his phone number, which scared off the other rich kids for quite a while. However, with no one left to bully, they were already licking their chops, ready to pick on Lai Chengshin. So, after school that day, Taiyong was taken home by them. Unexpectedly, despite swapped identity and memories, Taiyong still retained his vintage charm. With just a few words, he crushed the momentum. Shen-chan, water, please. Anyone? Oh, what are you guys talking about? That's Lai Chengshin. That's Huan Taiyong. Oh no! The returning rich kids were furious, and immediately beat up Taiyong. Meanwhile, Chengshin learned from classmates Taiyong was taken by rich kids, igniting his fury. He still remembered vividly. After switching identities, he wanted to take it slow with revenge, but they kept crashing in. So don't blame him for being cruel. At the rich kid's house, Chengshin pretended to admire the room. Eventually, he saw the injured Taiyong behind the sofa. His expression turned icy, and without a word, he took down the spray gun from the shelf. Pretending to aim, he pointed the gun at the rich kid, showcasing his style from Jeju. Be careful. When did you start worrying about what your dad's dislike? Huan Taiyong, how did you find out? Chengshin knew as they pranked him multiple times. This time, it was his turn to be the gunman, no blanks needed. He pointed the gun directly at the rich kid, striking at their but compared to such straightforward revenge, repeatedly tormenting and breaking down their psychological defenses might be more interesting. So, Chengshin pretended to joke around, waiting for the rich kid to completely let down their guard before revealing his true self. I'm different from you. I'm Huan Taiyong, indeed. Huan Taiyong. Is it truly that straightforward to be the son of a wealthy family, huh? However, one rebellious remark and he lost his inheritance, told to leave home after 20. He had just become a rich kid. He absolutely wouldn't give in so easily. That night, Chengshin went to his father's company and bluntly said he had just messed up but would clean it up himself. He told his father not to intervene. But just as he finished speaking, the commander called. The president didn't even need to hear what the call said, and clearly and directly stated that he believed his son could manage everything.